Hey, this is Bill, and welcome to Level Up Your Legacy, where we inspire and equip you to live a legacy so you can leave a legacy and show the way for the next generation. You know, if we're going to live legacy lives, we need to be people who are productive, right? We need to get things done in life, but not just productive, but we need to be about the important things. We need to produce around the things that really matter if we're going to have an impact in this world. And how do we do that when we live in a world that is filled with distractions, filled with interruptions, filled with information, filled with push notifications? And how do we do that for those of us who have personalities like mine, who have ADD tendencies? We're easily distracted. I'm going to tell you right now, I love to chase shiny things. Well, how do you do that? You do that by understanding how your brain is wired, so that you can function in harmony with how your brain is designed. And that's how you can help your brain help you become more productive. Henry Cloud writes about this in his great book, Boundaries for Leaders. Highly recommend that read, because we know what? We know leaders are readers. You want to get this book. Cloud talks about three things, the executive functions that the brain is designed to do. And when we do those, we become very productive people. The first thing he talks about, the first executive function, is attending. In other words, your brain needs to be able to focus. It needs to know what it needs to pay attention to. Number one, attending. Pay attention to this. Focus on this. The second is inhibiting. This is just as important as attending. Just as important as knowing what you need to focus on is you need to know what to consciously ignore, what you will not give your time, energy, and attention to. All those things that continually distract us, like email, like social media, like mindless internet surfing, like all kinds of things that constantly interrupt us throughout the day. Competing priorities even. Okay? Attending, inhibiting, and then the third executive function is remembering. And this has to do with the active memory function in our brain. So we need to be able to know what to focus on, we need to know what to ignore, and we need to have a running dialogue of how we're doing at accomplishing those things. So my question is, what kind of systems and structures do you have in place that help your brain be able to do those three things well? I'll read you a few questions that Cloud writes about in this book related to these three executive functions. He says, what structures, disciplines, and practices make sure that you are attending to what is most important? Secondly, what processes do you have in place that are inhibiting what is disruptive, irrelevant, or destructive? And then finally, how do you keep people or yourself conscious of what you need to be conscious of in order to make it all work? Think about your daily rhythm. Think about your weekly processes and structures. What do you have in place that's helping you do that? For me, my week starts on Sunday, where I set aside an hour or two even to set the agenda for my week, to identify what are those most important 3 to 5 things in the coming week that I must attend to, that I must make a high priority if I'm going to live my life in alignment with what is most important. And then when I step into my week each day, I begin by identifying those top 3 things related to my priorities that I set out on Sunday that I'm going to accomplish each day. Inhibiting. I also know what I will not allow to interrupt my time. So email is a big one. And for my life, one of the structures I have in place is somebody in my business who helps me manage my inbox. Because like I said, I'm easily distracted, and this can constantly take my attention away, disrupt my flow, get me out of the zone of staying productive around the most important things. Social media, I make a point not to read it throughout the day, and I limit my news intake. I'm a news guy, and with everything happening in the world, I love to check in on the news on a regular basis. I do that but I make sure that I wait till the evening to do that. So I am inhibiting those big distractors. And then each day, at the end of the day, I have the opportunity to reflect back and do a check-in with myself. How did I do? How effective was I at attending to those key priorities? How effective was I at inhibiting or limiting the things that distract me? And how do I need to regroup for the next day? Simple structures, rhythms, and processes to ensure that we function in a way that's in harmony with how your brain and my brain was designed. I'm going to tell you, this is hard for me. Like I said, I am very ADD, in my tendencies, and I struggle with this. But having structures really helps us become much more productive around the things that are truly most important. I hope that helps. Hit the reply and leave me a comment. Let me know what structures or systems that you have in place, or what challenges you're facing related to this in the world that we live in. Thanks again for watching.